Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Well, death, taxes, dropping a point to the Sharks because for some reason the Leafs are incapable of beating this godforsaken team. Welcome into Game Over Toronto, folks, after a Leafs overtime loss 3-2 to the San Jose Sharks. I'll be honest, the second the Sharks tied it up, I was so ready for another shootout loss. Wasn't a shootout loss. Progress? Does that count as progress? I don't know. Regardless, a very frustrating loss that the Leafs had ample opportunity to close out, and they just let it slip away with some sloppy play at the end of the game. Just too many things that they weren't able to capitalize on, and they, again, got sloppy at the end of the game. Very frustrating loss for the Leafs, but I guess they pick up a point, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of cope for this one because this is a game that, for the most part, I felt really good about for most of it. When the Leafs went up 2-0, I was like, okay, that's it. I figured the Leafs would be able to shut this one down. And even going into the third period up 2-1, I felt pretty good they would be able to shut this one down. And then the Sharks score with the net empty. And yeah, and then some brutal OT plays that we're going to have to talk about. So welcome in, everyone. If you're new here, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and come hang out in the chat. And I see a couple of our regulars already here. David saying, I hope Berube makes significant changes to various lines because, oh boy, do the Leafs need to find ways to score 3 or more goals in regulation game after game, something they haven't consistently done since that November OT loss to the Kings. Didn't they score like 4 or more in 3 straight games last week? They had their chances. I'm not worried. They need to work on finishing. The Leafs are doing a better job of generating chances lately, but they have got to bury at some point, man. Matthew saying they gave this game away. They had it so many times. Yep, they had it and gave it away. Robertson had to miss 3 great chances to fight his nickname of Scratch and Score. Yeah, I will say Robertson, I thought he was going to score immediately when he got that first 2-on-1. I don't know how Robertson didn't score in this game. Matthews looks so weak. So many times he starts to drive the zone and then just the play just dies, no shot. I've got thoughts on the way that this game ended. So we're going to go ahead and hop into it. For those of you who don't know, this first period I always like to dedicate as a game recap segment. Second period, we get into a bigger story. Third period, we get into a smaller story. And the OT period, we get into a Q&A. It's going to be a shortened show today because I have to go write an article. So I've got to write the post game. So I also got to get through this show a little bit quicker. So it's going to be probably 30 minutes or less tonight. So going into this one, Nylander down on line 3, Robertson and Cowan up with Tavares, and Henry Thrun in for Dakota Mermis, who Dakota Mermis, obviously not in this game. He's month to month with a knee injury after the events of Monday night. Now you might be wondering, oh, knee on knee and he got a 5 in a game. Did Gonçalves get ejected? Nope, of course not. But Bobby McMann serving a suspension in this one. Forgive me. So yeah, Bobby McMann serving a suspension in this one. 90 seconds in, the Sharks draw a call on Simon Benoit for tripping. The Sharks get some decent movement through the middle, but the Leafs were able to kill it off. And then Robertson and Cowan get a 2v1, or 2-on-1. Sorry, I write 2v1 in my notes, but 2-on-1. And Robertson has stopped trying to rip that 1-5 hole. Third line had a great cycling and forechecking shift where they were able to keep the puck in the zone multiple times. And then one of the failed clearing attempts by the Sharks, Riley hits Waugh for a chance, and Waugh, the first chance gets blocked, second chance he gets through, but it's stopped by Nedeljkovic. Beast of a shift by Tavares to continuously keep the puck in. Over 60 seconds of ozone time for the Leafs between the third and second line. Second line came out like 20 seconds into that sequence, and they were able to keep the puck in the offensive zone for a long time. Benoit gets away with the second trip, and then Willie steals the puck behind the Sharks net and sets up Riley. Big stop by Nedeljkovic coming across there. And then Ty Dellandrea gets a breakaway shortly after, and Riley hooks him, and they call a penalty shot. Now, admittedly, I don't love this call. By the letter of the law, technically Riley did get a stick into the hands. Barely. It was a very soft call, and I didn't like it, but Hildebeest makes the save. Hildeby comes across to stop Celebrini after a Domi turnover on a little one-time chance. Then Nylander circling the zone, stops behind the net, sets up Jake McCabe for a one-timer. He rips it. Dakota Joshua deflects it. It deflects off of old friend Timothy Liljegren, Liljegren, and in I hate that he changed like corrected people on the pronunciation of his name. I got so used to it. Anyways, 1-0 Leafs. Early in the second period, Klingberg has a nice chance that's stopped by Hildeby, and then Hildeby robs, is it Graft in front after Riley and OEL lost him. Matthews with a kind of wild tip off a Stetcher shot that gets barely kicked out by Nedeljkovic. Robertson, Robertson and Cowan run a give and go where Robertson toe drags around old Timmy there and gets a low give and go with Cowan. One timer just misses the net, hits the outside of the cage. If Robertson gets a hold of that, that's back of the net easily. Matthews runs his favorite little power wrap around to the far side. Ned barely gets a toe on it, and then Robertson robbed in front after a Tavares setup there, which it was a great pass by Tavares. Tavares, I thought, had a very he had a great effort game, but he didn't get rewarded with a lot of chances in this one. Leafs draw a call in the offensive zone, and they generally look better on the power play. They were moving the puck around a little bit more, but no dice. Hildeby has a interesting sequence where he does his best Patrick Waugh impression, dangling with the puck on his stick, nearly wraps it into his own net and turns it over, but the Leafs are able to get out of that sequence. Nylander has a 2-on-1 chance that gets stopped, and I wrote here that the Leafs were tilting the ice in the second period at this point. The shots were like 11-3, 10 minutes in to the second period. 3-on-2 for the Sharks. Wenberg hits Toffoli backdoor, but Hildeby gets across in time. There's that 6-7 frame for Hildeby. Just so easy for him to take up so much of the net. Sharks take an offensive zone penalty, and then on the power play, William Nylander gliding down the left side stares Tavares dead in the eyes and sends it the other way over to Austin Matthews on the back door. Matthews makes no mistake on the one-timer. The Leafs finally score a power play goal to give them a 2-0 lead. Sharks in the offensive zone shortly after. This is about 40 seconds after, and Klingberg, great deception by John Klingberg on this play where he's totally squared up, ready to shoot, and then he's facing the boards with the net to his left because he's a righty, and he swings it all the way through the motion over to Orlov. Orlov rips one top shelf. Fantastic shot by Orlov, and he cuts the lead 2-1, ending Dennis Hildeby's shutout streak. Often icing against the Sharks, Joshua gets dinged for an interference off the faceoff. Oh, no, I skipped around a little bit, didn't I? Yes, I did. My bad. I'm skipping time. Hold on. Where was I in my notes? Okay, yeah. Dying seconds of the second period, Hildeby makes an incredible cross-ice save on Kurashev, who got a chance off of a Benoit turnover because Benoit decided to just loft it up the boards on his backhand, and Hildeby has to make a save on the one-timer with like 2 seconds to go in the period. Start of the third, a awkward play behind the net where I believe it was Gaudette or Wenberg or someone like that falls down, and while falling down, lands on OEL's ankle. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, I don't know if it was necessarily ankle or knee. It looked like an ankle injury. Unable to put any weight on it as he walked off the ice and headed to the locker room. Very bad looking injury for OEL. Hopefully it's not anything too extreme, but he's going to miss a little bit of time here. Brutal season for the Leafs D-core, and OEL's been having a good season as well. Yarncroke has a chance all alone in front, and he misses the net. If you want to stay in the lineup, you can't have it. Off a Domi turnover, Celebrini gets a shot that's turned away, and then on a 2-on-1 with a defender coming back, Cowan drives the middle of the ice, drags it around the defender, gets a good shot, but it's turned away. Then off of an icing, Joshua, this is where he gets dinged for the interference. The Leafs able to kill that one off. Sharks, again, have some decent movements, a couple of shots, but the Leafs penalty kill does a generally good job. And then this almost killed me. On the rush, Ryan Reeves beats Simon Benoit to the back door. Barclay Goodrow throws it out in front. It deflects off Benoit and in. In real time, I fully thought that this was Ryan Reeves' goal, and I was going to cry, but it wasn't. But it also doesn't matter because on the rush sequence, Adam Gaudette puts himself offsides. Now, we've seen some funky rulings with the offside with like having possession as you cross the line and saving yourself from the rule a little bit, but Gaudette fully turns around and passes the puck over the blue line, so he puts himself offsides. It's no goal. Seconds later, after the ensuing faceoff, Joshua buries a defender in the neutral zone and springs Nylander and Waugh on a 2-on-1, and Waugh draws a call from the back checking forward. Some decent movement on the power play, but not a real threat to score there, and it remains 2-1. Celebrini is stopped point blank, and then with like 3 minutes to go, Liljegren has a shot from the point. The puck deflects off the skaters in front, and Hildeby makes an acrobatic, like, behind the back catch save where he's like fully turning around, grabs it off his own jersey numbers there. Very nice save. But then moments later, Nylander and Waugh, I don't know what these idiots were doing at the line, but they have the puck, they have possession, and they fail to clear the zone. The Sharks keep it in. And then moments later on the cycle, John Klingberg, former Leaf, sends one through to the back of the net, ties the game at 2. That sends us to overtime. In overtime, Austin Matthews, at the end of a shift, decides to go 1-on-2 and tries to jump through 2 Sharks players and turns it over, giving up a 2-on-1, and then he's exhausted because it's the end of a shift and he's unable to get back. Hildeby makes the first stop, but Wenberg on the rebound is able to poke it home. They looked at it for an offsides, but it stood. So the Sharks win 3-2 in overtime. And that is your ball game, folks. Matthew saying Thrun did look good. Thrun looked acceptable. I will say there was one sequence that was hilarious where he was waiting for a one-timer for like 10 seconds, and they finally gave it to him, and he like broke his stick and completely ate it. It was really funny to watch. But for the most part, he looked pretty solid. Gonçalves should have received a suspension, though. It was fair for the Department of Player Safety to suspend McMahon for a game. Yeah. David, you're absolutely right. I think we talked about it on Monday too. The McMahon suspension, sure. Now, granted, when you compare it to the Trouba play from a few years ago, it's hilarious that McMahon got a suspension. However, like, McMahon deserved a suspension because it was a stupid play. You can't be doing that. The fact that Gonçalves got nothing, he got like a $3,000 fine, just a complete joke. The Leafs, over the last... since George Peros took over the Department of Player Safety, the Leafs lead the league in amount of suspensions with 12, which is hilarious. I'm not going to get into that whole. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into it. Dakota Joshua scored. That's a lot of forwards. A lot of guys are going to go pointless when you score 2 goals in a game. A lot of the guys that you listed, David, they had chances. They just didn't bury. Lorenz killed me because he had one chance where he was coming out in front and he tried to do a spin pass. Like, what are you doing? But Robertson, Waugh, Tavares, they all had their chances in this game. Cowan, Domi as well. Even Yarncroke did. Like, a lot of these guys, they had chances. They just didn't bury it. Joshua didn't score. Did they change that? Hold on. No, he scored. I saw it at the pants. So I'm pretty sure what happened, Matthew, is Joshua tipped it as it was going past Nedeljkovic. He tipped it like as it got to Ned, and then it deflected off Liljegren and in. The Hildebeest and special teams showed up. Yeah, the penalty kill is unbelievable. But yeah, the game-winning goal, had it been blown down, would have been an excellent scoring chance. Shots on goal were close. Yeah, I mean, the Leafs did a lot better job controlling possession. And actually, you know what? Let's find out. Let's find out how well the Leafs control possession. Because I don't know about you guys, but it certainly felt like the Leafs, in the second period especially, were doing a great job of earning the puck, and they were winning a lot more battles. The Leafs end with, hold on. In all situations, actually, this is fascinating. In all situations, the shot attempts were dead even, 50-50, 58-58, 50% to each. With the power plays, the Sharks controlled the high danger chances and the expected goals, although in all situations, the Leafs do a little bit better. But the Sharks certainly were controlling the quality, which we talk about this all the time with the Berube structure. I'm okay if the Leafs are below 50% of possession, but the number one thing this Berube team wants to do is they want to control the high dangers. They didn't control the high dangers. They didn't control the quality in this game. and you lose. Every Leaf forward will necessarily get a point game in and game out, but more had needed to contribute. It's just finishing, man. The Leafs had, I'll maintain that. The Leafs had chances in this game. Got to bury. At some point, you've got to bury your chances. First power play, they showed how if you don't miss the net, you can control the puck. That too, but also, Matthew, what I'll add is the power play actually moved the puck on that first power and the second power play. Like, they actually were going towards the net and having direct action. That also helps with just wearing down the penalty kill and challenging them. They were doing a much better job with the direct action. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to our second segment. Of course, hit like, hit subscribe. You guys know we're going to keep this thing on the road. Okay, I will mention the power play here, just the special teams in general. The penalty kill, we talked about it on Monday, has been fantastic since Joseph Woll came back, but more specifically since Scott Laughton came back. Scott Laughton is a fantastic penalty killer. I love that man so much. So much. Him and Lorenzo are so dialed on the penalty kill, even when the defenders behind them aren't. Tough night for Benoit, but is what it is. But the power play, getting a goal is enormous for them. I just hope wholeheartedly, if nothing else, it gives them a little bit of confidence. That pass from Nylander to Matthews was so nasty. Nylander had a much better day. And Matthews and Nylander should be dialed on those kind of cross ice passes, but it was nice to see that they at least got the power play going a little bit, and we're getting some chances. The second unit got chances as well, as they've done over the last little bit. So it was encouraging to see the power play take a step in the right direction, because honestly, look, the Leafs lose this game. It was frustrating, I know, but anytime you lose, or every game in general, you want to improve on something that you failed at in previous games. And for the Leafs, for the last number of games, it's been the power plays, the number one area. Like, obviously, the results matter, but the process also matters, especially at this point of the season. And for the power play to take a step in that right direction, okay, you got one goal. Now show us that you can keep that going, keep the process going, keep the process improving, get some more quality chances with the man advantage, and just start looking like a more coherent unit, because the Leafs have been dead last since like mid-November on the power play. That's only the Leafs' like 11th power play goal in the year, or 11th or 12th. Abysmal. So huge step in the right direction there. And then, like I said, yeah, the penalty kill, fantastic. I think the penalty kill might be the area of the team that I'm feeling the best about, unironically, because 5-on-5, they're playing more like that, how they want to under Berube. Power play sucks. Penalty kill is fantastic. So it, yeah, if the Leafs are going to defend, well, I know they weren't as good tonight, but in general, over the last 2 weeks, they've been a lot better. Actually, the last 3 weeks, they've been better at the 5-on-5 defense. So if they dial in their defense a little bit more, and the way that they've been playing, of course, losing OEL sucks for that, but if they are able to play 5-on-5 relatively the same, the power play, and look, we've been talking about it. You guys are like, we need to get more goals, 2 5-on-5 goals per game is probably a benchmark. But 3 goals a game, right? In general, we ask for 3 goals a game. Probably 2 5-on-5 goals, so 1 from the top 6, 1 from the bottom 6, and 1 from the power play. That's a fair, if you get 4 power plays a game, which the Leafs don't. But 3 goals a game, that's the benchmark. If the basic, and honestly, this is kind of what the math boils down to as of late, because the Leafs have dialed in the defensive aspects and they've gotten goaltending to the point where if the Leafs score 3 goals, they will win. If they don't score 3 goals, they will lose. That's kind of where we're at. Obviously, Monday they only scored 2 and win, but you know what I mean? The Leafs, the bar for what they need to generate on offense is relatively low. They just got to convert, man. They've just got to convert. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this over to our third segment real quick, where I will say this is where I'm going to talk about OEL for a second, because, oh boy, the defense is hurting badly. Now, we did get an update on Chris Tanev. Well, we got a sort of update on Chris Tanev, where on Wednesday he was going to see a specialist to find out if he needed to get a procedure done that would keep him out longer term. I assume he did not get that procedure based on the fact that he was on the ice in a non-contact jersey this morning. So it sounds like Tanev is working his way back, and he'll be back in the next week or two. I cannot stress how important that's going to be. Now that OEL is out, the Leafs don't have a right side. It's Troy Stecher and his band of merry men right now. Henry Thrun plays the right side. He can be in the mix, but it kind of seems like we're going to head into Saturday's game with a decor of Riley Stecher, Benoit McCabe, Thrun Myers. Ugh. Against the Edmonton Oilers? Dude. Okay. Look, guys. Look. This is not a gambling show. However, bet the over on Oilers goals on Saturday. They are going to cook this decor in transition. Bring up, I assume you mean Benning. That honestly, sure. Bring up someone. Villeneuve, someone. Or Villeneuve, whatever. However you pronounce that. Bring up some. This is gonna be an interesting decor for a game or two here until Tanev gets back. We'll wait for the diagnosis on OEL. I would imagine it's going to be a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks for him. We're not going to see OEL until 2026. I don't think. So, man. I'm not looking forward to that. The decor is not, it's at a bad place. Now, the Leafs have been playing relatively decent defensively, but you only have so many guys. You need to get Tanev back. No idea what's going on with Carlo. When they're healthy, they're good. Like, when they're healthy, that's a very solid decor. They are not healthy right now. And Riley's not great. McCabe's good on the left side. On the right side, he's not as good. Stetcher's good, but he's not a top pair guy. And it sounds like he's going to be a top pair guy for the foreseeable future. So it's dire right now, man. But just wanted to flag that because, yeah, that sucks. And hope OEL's okay. Okay, I'm going to turn us over to our fourth and final segment. Again, I know it's a shorter show, but I do have an article to write, so I do have to keep this relatively short. So if you have questions, this is the part of the show where you can ask them. If you guys have questions, I will take a couple as I quickly check Twitter to see if there's been any updates from Brube. Okay, so speaking of Carlo, Craig Berube says that Brandon Carlo did in fact have surgery and will be out for a month from when it took place, and it happened sometime when they were on the road. So sometime last week or the week before. So Carlo is going to be out another 3 weeks. He'll probably be back for the start of January. OEL will need to be evaluated to determine how long he'll be out, but only added that he sustained a lower body injury. Okay, yeah. This is a fascinating stat. Maple Leafs losses when leading by multiple goals. Last season, in all 82 games, 4 times the Leafs blew a multi-goal lead. This season, in 30 games, 5. Not good. Not good that you've already exceeded it, man. Yeah, tough. It's tough. It's tough out here. Some people are crashing out online, which is really funny. But yeah, not great. Okay, so if there's no questions, do you keep Domi on the top line? You have to. If Domi's not on the top line, he's useless. So I would, if Domi's not there, then put Michelli in there and give Michelli a game. Because you have first, or put Yarncrook there for all I care. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the top line with Domi. Domi and Michelli are both so one-dimensional for this lineup, and I don't know what else to do. If you either do you take Domi out? Actually, this ties into your next question. With McMahon back next game, is Robertson in? What if we do Nyes, Matthews, McMahon? What if we just do a crazy forechecking line and have Matthews carry the puck more? That could work. But yeah, I just get Matthews 2 worker bees and go to work. And then keep Robertson in. Robertson should be in anyways. I'd rather have Robertson in than Yarncroke right now, so Worst case, if you bump Robertson down the lineup, he could be on the fourth line with Lawton and Lorentz. I'd rather that. No, Domi needs to go. Sure. I'm open to that, Chris. We can send Domi to Siberia. We could send him and Michelli out and then pick up a different guy because not looking great right now. So with that being said, I think that's where we are going to wrap it up. I liked Robertson on the top line with Domi on the fourth and Yarncroke out. The thing is, Robertson on the top line is it's fun, but it's not a long-term fix. I look forward to at least waiving Domi with a modified no trade clause. They're not going to waive Domi. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, David. They won't waive Domi. There's a better chance they might waive Yarncroke for contract termination purposes because it sounds like Yarncroke's weighing going back to Sweden. But thank you, someone, for agreeing with me. Hey, Chris, if you want Domi slander, the regulars will testify. I do not like Max Domi, and every day I miss Tyler Bertuzzi more and more, and I will never forgive the Leafs for choosing Domi over Bertuzzi. That was actually, funny enough, that was like the first clip. Like, I think it was like the second or third show that I did last year where I went on my rant about performative toughness versus functional toughness and talking about like just the fact that Domi is not what this team needs and Bertuzzi was more of what the team needs. So yeah, man, I'm your guy. I'm your Domi hater, certified Domi hater right now. With this episode about to end, I plan to turn into the games that feature Canadian teams. Yarncroke deserves to be waived as much as Domi does. Sure. I mean, Yarncroke probably will be waived for the contract. Domi won't be waived though. He just won't. They'll probably trade Michelli at some point for a bag of pucks, but they like Domi, and I don't understand it. Yes, sir, I miss Hyman. It's criminal how much better Hyman got in Edmonton, though. I hate that. I mean, I do miss Hyman, but yeah, that's tough. Hyman, Bertuzzi. Oh man, we had so many good worker bees. We could have had a lineup. We could have had a top six that had all of Nyes, Hyman, Bertuzzi right now. That's not true. We couldn't afford to keep Hyman through the COVID lockdowns and all that. But I digress. Okay, with that being said, now I'm going to end this show. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to go follow the Game Over Network on social media, on any social media, and follow Game Over Toronto or subscribe to Game Over Toronto as well. You can find me on Twitter and Bluesky at Zach Payne 41, and I'll be back probably be back on Saturday for that Leafs Oilers game. Just think, nice Matthews Hyman. Yeah, that would have been a fun worker effort line. But yeah. Okay, everyone, have a good night, rest of your night. I'll see you next time. Cheers.